Welcome to Comic Power. I am your host, Comic Killer 72. Welcome to Wicked Wednesday, where we discuss all the new comics that's coming out this week. Every Wednesday is like Christmas for us nerds because that's when the new comics come out. These are my recommendations for the best books to pick up on Wednesday. But here's some other information first. I also will let you guys know about alerts. When you go to the top of the homepage and click on alerts, it'll be checked and say, send me all notifications for this channel. And that will tip you off when a new video is up. And if you haven't seen Spider-Man Homecoming, what are you waiting on? Christmas? Go see the film. They didn't give away everything in the trailer. It just looks like it did. 4.5 out of 5 stars. And while we're here, let's go ahead and get into New Comic Day, starting with our friends from DC Comics. And first up the bat is Action Comics number 983. This is an awesome cover by Clay Mann. It's one of the best looking covers I've seen this year. You don't have to buy an overpriced variant to get a good cover. You can go to your comic book store and buy this for just $3. It's cover A, and that's the way it's supposed to be. This is part 1 of the Revenge storyline, and Action Comics lives up to its name. There's a cover B version which looks like this, but I would go ahead and settle for the cover A. It's superior. Next up is Dark Days, the casting number 1. Batman enlists the help of Green Lantern and Duke to help stop the newest diabolical plot by the Joker. I feel like Scott on Austin Powers when it comes to this issue. Why don't Batman just kill him? Just be done with it. Good gosh. I can't kill. It's against my moral code. Whatever, Batman, you won't kill him because you won't have any reason to become Batman anymore if the Joker isn't around. Check me out, psychoanalyzing the comic book character. Next up is Wonder Woman number 26. She's more popular than ever because of her successful movie. If you haven't seen it yet, what are you waiting on? Hanukkah? Go see the movie. 4 out of 5 stars. In terms of the comic, if you're going to be collecting Wonder Woman, you should be getting the cover B variants by Jenny Frison. They're just awesome and regal and superior and every adjective I can think of. They are great. Get them. There's also a Comic-Con foil convention exclusive photo variant shown here, but it's selling on eBay for about $50. I'm pretty firm on my position on these. Don't pay this type of money for new variants that just came out. The majority of the time, the prices are going to drop after the hype is over and you're going to feel burned. Next up is The Flash number 26. This is one of the most consistent titles out there. It comes out every 2 weeks. It's written at a high level. It's drawn even better. What can I say, man? It's just great. This is part 2 of the Running Scared storyline. Next up is American Way, Those Above and Below number 1. And this is number 1 of a 6-part miniseries. It's about a disbanded group of superheroes from the old World War II days. The former leader is still keeping neighborhoods safe and fighting crime, but some of the other associates are on the wrong side of the law these days. So former friends are now going to be foes. That's a pretty good premise. It's worth picking up. Next up, let's see what Marvel is up to. And that's going to be Amazing Spider-Man number 30. And this is the return of Otto Octavius, calling himself the Superior Octopus. He made his first appearance way back in 1963 in Amazing Spider-Man number 3. And he's easily one of Spider-Man's most recognizable foes. They also have the variants with the X-Men trading cards by Jim Lee shown here. They should have only done this for the X-Men titles, but they're doing it company-wide. Something I really don't understand why they're doing it, but hey, it's Marvel. They do what they want to do. Next up is Deadpool number 33, and he's having trouble adjusting to a new Hydra government. So I guess it's sort of like a Secret Empire tie-in. There's an X-Men trading card for this one as well, and it looks like this, which makes more sense than having an X-Men trading card on a Spider-Man title. I repeat, all of these are done by Jim Lee from the archives. Next up is Jean Grey number 4. Probably one of Marvel's most popular female characters of all time. By the way, Fox has started production on a Dark Phoenix saga. Let's just cross our fingers they don't mess this up. Next up is Old Man Logan number 26. This is the follow-up from issue number 25 where he takes on the Maestro. The Maestro is an alternative future Hulk that maintains Bruce Banner's intelligence, along with the super strength that the Hulk is known for. So that's quite a challenge for Old Man Logan, don't you think? Next up is Darth Vader Volume 2 number 3. Marvel is getting all of the Star Wars titles right. The main Star Wars title, Dr. Aphra, and this rebooted Darth Vader title. They're on a much higher level of quality than the other books they're putting out. In terms of the writing and the art, it looks like they actually care when a lot of their stuff looks like it's just thrown out there. Speaking of Dr. Aphra, issue number 9 just dropped this week, and all of her issues just look great, man. This character is really catching on. I can't stop talking about it. There's also a 40th anniversary variant for her this month as well. And remember, everything that's happening in these Star Wars titles is canon, and it can be used for future live action movies one day. Just watch. Next up is Spider-Man 2, number 1 of a 5-part miniseries. It's a team up of Peter Parker and Miles Morales. Miles Morales was in an alternative universe where Peter Parker died and young Miles took on the mantle of Spider-Man, but the Ultimate Universe imploded and the most popular thing there was Miles Morales, so Marvel got rid of the Ultimate Universe, brought Miles into the 616 and confused the heck out of everybody. So hopefully this miniseries will explain that, but knowing Marvel, they'll probably just make it more confusing, which will make channels like mine even more essential to try to explain all of this. Next up is Weapon X number 5. I've been talking about it non-stop since it's made its debut on April 12th. It has a tie-in with Weapons of Mutant Destruction as well. And issue number 5 is part 3 of that storyline. Secret Empire is the most hyped event, but Weapons of Mutant Destruction is actually their better event. Secret Empire came and Secret Empire will go, but people will be reading Weapons of Mutant Destruction and Weapon X in the future for a long time to come. Next up is Zombies Assemble number 0 of a 4-part miniseries. This is Marvel's greatest heroes fighting against a zombie outbreak. If you like zombies and you like Marvel, this is a great mashup of that. Go ahead and try it out for $5. Next up is our report on independent comics and small publishers. First up is Animosity number 8 from Aftershock Comics. You know this story. It's about the animals come awake one day and take revenge against their former slave masters, which is us, but one family dog stays loyal to his human and tries to get her to safety. It was a big surprise hit for 2016 and has been Aftershock's most successful title. So they gave it a spin-off miniseries called Animosity: The Rise. Issue number 2 comes out this week. It explains more of what's going on and how this happened in the first place. Next up is War for the Planet of the Apes number 1 from Boom Studios. This is number 1 of a 4-part miniseries. It's a prequel to the upcoming movie. Next up is Gru, Play of Gods number 1 from Dark Horse Comics. This is written and drawn by a longtime artist of Mad Magazine, Sergio Organis. If you're a fan of his art, then this is for you. Next up, and also from Dark Horse, is Briggsland, Lone Wolf number 1. It's the story of a secessionist compound that wants to lead the United States and what happens when the wife of the leader takes over after he goes to jail. Next up is Centipede number 1 from IDW Comics in partnership with Atari. And yes, this is based on the 1980s video game. I spent countless hours and quarters playing this at the arcade. Next up is Skin and Earth number 1 from Dynamite Entertainment. It's the story of a woman in a dystopian world who's searching for hope in a hopeless world, caught between romance and cults and gods and mortals. It's written and drawn by a very talented young lady named Lights. Yeah, Lights. She goes by one name and that's it. So she's a writer, a comic book artist, a musician, a real Renaissance woman. She has an album that's going to be released by Warner Brothers this fall as well. She's a 30-year-old Canadian, and I'll put links in the description about her. Next up is Kim Reaper number 4 from Onai Press. It's the story of a college student that takes a job as a Grim Reaper. She gets suspended from her job and takes a job at a bakery in this issue. This title obviously is a spoof of the horror genre, so I really like it. Next up is Harbinger Renegade number 5 from Valiant Comics, and they promise the death of a major character in this issue. Valiant has some of the best comics out there going. You should be reading at least one title. They keep their number of titles limited so they can keep the quality high, which is the polar opposite of Marvel, which throws everything against the wall and see what sticks. The Harbinger title is sort of like Valiant's answer to the X-Men. Instead of called mutants, they're called psiots. One of their enemies is the Hardcore. The Hard stands for Harbinger Active Resistance Division, and they would be Valiant's answer to the Suicide Squad from DC or the Thunderbolts from Marvel. I'll do a whole Harbinger Explain video in the future once they drop more information about the upcoming movie. Next up is the Speculation Pick of the Week. And that's going to be Calexit number 1 from Black Mass Studios. It's the story of a future world in which California breaks apart from the United States after a fascist president takes over. It's described as a tale of resisting oppression, punching Nazis, and protecting each other and kicking ass and demanding liberty for all. Did you know that California by itself would be the world's 6th largest economy? If this did happen, it would be disastrous for the rest of the country. Black Mask are experts at telling these type of subversive stories. Black Mask is the comics what punk rock is to music. They're going to be limited variants like this one, which is selling on eBay right now for about $13 plus the shipping. Whatever version you get, I think you should pick this up. Black Mass titles are always powerful. Even if you don't agree with the politics, it's always a good read. As always, the list is not complete without Image. First up is Black Cloud number 4. This is the story that's written by Jason Latour. He's already famous as the creator and writer for Spider-Gwen, as well as being the artist on Southern Bastards. It's the story of a woman from another dimension generation who's hiding out on the earth, but the beings that are after her find her here. It took 2 or 3 issues to get going, but it's turned into a very compelling story. It's probably worth picking up a trade paperback when it gets to that point. Next up is The Divided States of Hysteria #1, which is going to a second printing, which looks like this. And the second print is a variant. It's clearly the most controversial book released this year. They've already banned in advance issue #4's cover, which shows a man being hung and castrated. Issue 1 also includes a story in which a transgender sex worker gets outed as being a man by his clients who think it's a woman, and they wind up assaulting him, and he takes out a gun and shoots him and then gets arrested for murder. This is a book that clearly earns its MA for mature. Issue #2 first print also drops this week, and like I said, this is so controversial, it's going to sell a lot of copies because people want to see what the controversy is about. It's written and drawn by comic legend Howard Chaykin. He describes it as a future America shattered by greed, racism, violence, and fear and tragedy. And he pulls no punches in telling that story. Only Image or maybe Black Mask would be the only publishers that had the balls to tell a story like this. Next up is Kill or Be Killed #10, and this is the end of the first story arc on this incredible series, which is nominated for an Eisner for Best Continuing Series. It's the story of a young man that becomes a vigilante after a failed suicide attempt. It falls somewhere between Moon Knight and Kick-Ass. Next up is Regression #1, which is going to a 3rd printing. This is from horror master Cullen Bunn, who doesn't sleep. He just stays up 24 hours a day and writes comics. Issue #3 first print also comes out this week. It's the story of a man that goes through past life regression hypnotherapy, and his consciousness is passed back through time, and he's got to find a way to get back and get out of this. Okay, that's it for Image, but we have a few more indies to discuss, such as Tinkers of the Wasteland #1 from Scout Comics. This is a future world where meteorites have destroyed civilization. And just like in Mad Max where they have to hoard gasoline, in this story they have to hoard chickens. They are rare and scarce and valuable in this future world. This is a very strange story. If you like offbeat comics, then this is for you. Next up is Lola XOXO Volume 2 #1 from Aspen Inc. At this point, strong female lead in a dystopian future is pretty cliche, and that's exactly what this is. But few things look as good in comics as this does. It's written and drawn by Sia and man, it looks fantastic. There's also a trade paperback of Volume 1 coming out this week as well. Just look at that though. The artwork on this is incredible. Before I close, look at this Jean Grey as the Phoenix cosplay. In 2018, I promised to talk more about cosplay and dedicate a segment just for it. You have no idea the countless hours and time that cosplayers put into their craft, and they make the conventions a whole lot more interesting. You know the drill. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, and share these videos on social media so others learn about comic power. That's about it for today. Thank you for watching Wicked Wednesday, where I review all the new comic books for a new comic day. Be sure to follow my blog at comicpower.net. On social media, follow me at facebook.com/comicpower.net and comicpower-universe.tumblr.com. And don't forget twitter.com/comicpowersub. I also sell comics on eBay at this link. This is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye. And don't forget to share this video, click on subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and tell everyone you know about this channel to help it grow. Thank you for your support.